1, 2, 2A, 3B, 10 and lots of them in between. The Goods and Services Tax regime brought with itself a new framework for filing returns, one that replaced lots of physical forms with an online one-stop filing window, the Goods and Services Tax Network or GSTN. But that required small and medium businesses to move away from manual bookkeeping and physical invoices to digital ones. Businesses we spoke with told us that while they managed to tide through the initial learning phase, there are several ongoing requirements that are proving to be painful, especially those that put the compliance burden of errant businesses on honest ones. Just days before the due date for filing detailed GST returns last year, the government realized that both the taxpayers and GSTN are not ready. And so, GSTR 3B was introduced. This form captures the summary of outward and inward supplies. Soon after, GSTR 1 was made mandatory. This required taxpayers to file detailed invoice level data of outward supplies. But the matching of invoices uploaded by buyers and sellers hasn't started as yet. Before that is notified, the existing processes need to be made even more simpler, says Chandrakant Salunke, President of the SME Development Chamber.
If I am paying GST through my account, then we should aware about everything to be on the desk. Accountant can do all these things. We should not approach every time professional. Annual return is there, or any issue there, or any claim is there, then I can approach professional.
What part specifically do SMEs
Compliances part should be a very simplified, because any entrepreneur from the rural area should aware about it and should accept this facility and to do easy and smooth business.
GSTR 1 is what you've purchased, GSTR 2 is what you've sold, and GSTR 2A matches this buying and selling process. Okay. And currently GSTR 3B, which businesses are filing, it's a summary return based on which people are taking professional credit, right? Where is the problem in this process?
See, the problem is when any entrepreneurs approaching any consultant, the consultant is available or not available. Consultant is taking his case or not. Sometimes the consultant is doing after 1 month, so he becomes defaults. So the entrepreneur's company become a defaulter.
But why can't you do that yourself? It's just the invoice that you have to enter in the system.
Some entrepreneur facing, there is a fear. If I'm making mistake, then my tax will go to any other account. This amount will go to any other account, or any mistake will be happen. Then how I will claim? Because they don't know the in window, they don't know the access point where they will contact, with whom they will speak. So there are, this is the formalities, this is a procedural work. Only thing is that we are expecting how the SME will be benefited from the simplification of the GST regime, and we will be happy to support government to develop more, to understand more, because SME entrepreneurs are not educated for the particularly taxation part.
Education and simplification of the process is one part. Getting vendors to become GST compliant is another difficult task. GM Warke, founder and chief executive officer at High Media Laboratories, points out. Warke's company manufactures culture medium for microbiology that has uses in the pharma, food and agriculture industry.
There are certain people who are not paying the tax at all. So we have to wait for 3 months or 6 months. And now sometimes we have to send the reminder also. So that is the main hurdle for us. So that's why government has to simplify this process. That is, other taxpayer also, they should pay the tax, because we have already paid the tax. So but those people, they are not able to pay the tax. Particularly vendors, I am talking about the vendors, from whom we purchase the material. For those people, we face the problem.
Okay, and are you having to delay on availing of the input tax credit because they are not depositing the due share that they are supposed to with the government department?
Then we have to pay from our pocket for time being.
Okay.
And we don't know that at the time of return, at assessment, whether till that time, but then we can able to verify from the system whether really this person has paid the tax. Now recently I come across one of our vendor, he has not paid the tax since June 17. So then naturally now we have to hold his payment. But then now the payment, because it is we are now constructing new our high media house at near Thane. So there also that gentleman has not paid any this GST for last 1 year, and it is 20 lakhs rupees. And so now when we told him that we will hold the money, he said I will not do the work. So that is the main problem what we are facing. So we have to we have to pay some money, part of the money to him.
No, I understand this because eventually, sir, next year onwards, that's the council has indicated, we will move to a phase where the GSTR 2 and GSTR 1 will be matched. Okay, so whether the tax that you have paid to your buyer, they have deposited that tax with the government or not. So the matching concept will come in starting next year. Have you started talking to your vendors that if this chain of tax paying is not completed, somebody in the process is going to suffer?
No, that they are aware, but they are thick-skinned people, so they don't care for that one. But the reason is their vendors sometimes what they do, they quote less, just to become a L1. Okay. So with that temptation, we feel that okay, L1 is there, so why not to give the business to him? But then he is playing this type of tactics that he is not. We are paying him money as a tax, and there he is not paying to the government. So naturally, we have to wait whether he is really paid or not. But in meantime, we already given the tax to the party. So this is the main problem what we face.
Would you as a business then look for other vendors in the market after having dealt with the ones who are not probably depositing that tax?
No, that way actually we select the vendors who are actually they are really going to pay the tax or not. That our regular vendors, there is no problem. But when you are having a new vendors, suppose now if you are doing having any project, so a project you are not aware about the only what you see that his credibility and his whether he is a competent or not, and on his competency then you are somebody's recommendation, you give him the job. Okay, but finally afterwards we are coming to know that this person is not paying tax, he is a defaulter. So in that case we face the problem. So this is only for the new projects. For the old project generally about the dealers, because amount is small there, so we can able to manage. But when the type of construction at that time, amount is very large, because when we are given this job to the one of our fire extinguisher people, so the job was about more than 1 crore, and he has not paid the tax up till now he has not paid tax of 20 lakhs rupees. So now still I have to release the payment to him, because as I have to complete my job. So that is a handicap.
Okay. And do you anticipate that this will eventually cause problems for you, because the council had indicated that if they can't recover the tax from this guy, they will ask you to prompt your vendors to pay that tax?
In that case, the only solution is there, because we cannot claim that money. Whatever the tax we have paid, we cannot claim that.
Revenue Secretary Hasmukh Adia has indicated that simplification of the return filing process would be one of the top priorities in the second year of GST. The key would be to simplify the forms and processes while ensuring that there is minimal revenue leakage. That would be a tightrope walk. In Mumbai, Paiswani Upadhyay.